Hello, and welcome to Moments of Cheating. Today's story will take you into the heart of one man's generosity, and the betrayal that nearly broke him. Sit back, listen closely. Because this isn't just a story. It's a warning. We met when she was 19. A college student with bright eyes and endless dreams. She worked as a waitress at the small cafe where I stopped for coffee every evening after work. The warm lighting made her smile seem even more genuine, and there was something about her laugh that drew me in like a moth to flame. I was 10 years older, perhaps 10 years more foolish too. She seemed so real to me. So authentic. Too pure to be deceptive, too innocent to harbor hidden agendas. When she talked about her studies, her voice carried a passion that lit up the entire room. Those evening conversations became the highlight of my day. She would bring my usual order, black coffee, no sugar, and somehow always find a few minutes to chat. She spoke about psychology classes, about wanting to help people heal their minds and hearts. Her dreams were beautiful, and I found myself believing in them as much as she did. But beneath her enthusiasm, I began to notice the worry lines creasing her forehead. The way her shoulders sagged when she thought no one was looking. The tired sighs that escaped between her smiles. Something was weighing heavily on this young woman's spirit. One evening, as autumn rain drummed against the cafe windows, she finally opened up. Her voice trembled as she confessed her struggles, the mounting bills, the impossible choice between education and survival. "I can't afford tuition anymore," she whispered, her hands shaking as she wiped down the counter. "The rent is overdue again. I'm working double shifts, but it's never enough. I'm so close to my dream of becoming a psychologist, but I'm terrified I'll have to give it all up." Her vulnerability broke something inside me. Here was this brilliant, hard-working young woman, drowning in circumstances beyond her control. The unfairness of it all stirred something deep within my chest, a desire to be her hero, her savior. I listened to every word, absorbed every tear that threatened to fall from her eyes. In that moment, I made a decision that would change both our lives forever. I wanted to help. No, I needed to help. The thought of her dreams crumbling felt unbearable. What if someone could help? I asked quietly. What if you didn't have to choose between your future and surviving today? What started as one semester's tuition became so much more. First, I covered her entire academic year. Then I found her a small apartment closer to campus, nothing fancy, but clean and safe. The commute was challenging for her, so I bought a reliable used car. Nothing extravagant, just dependable transportation. I wasn't calculating these gestures. I wasn't keeping score or expecting anything in return. I was simply in love. Or at least, I believed I was. She was grateful beyond words, calling me her guardian angel, her lifeline in a world that had been pulling her under. "You saved me," she would say, her eyes glistening with what I thought was pure appreciation. "Without you, I would have completely fallen apart. You're my foundation, my family now." Those words filled my heart with a warmth I'd never experienced before. I felt needed, important, like I was making a real difference in someone's life. For months, everything seemed perfect. She excelled in her studies, and I took pride in knowing I had helped make her success possible. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to shift. Like a photograph left in sunlight, our connection started to fade around the edges. Part 4. The unraveling. The changes crept in like shadows at dusk. Her phone became a permanent fixture in her hands, always buzzing with messages she would quickly hide. Her smiles grew forced, mechanical. Our conversations became shorter, less meaningful. Even her kisses felt like obligations rather than expressions of affection. "Classes are really demanding right now," she would explain when I asked about her distance. "I'm just exhausted from all the studying," she would murmur, avoiding my eyes. I wanted to believe her. I chose to believe her. Until that one evening when I decided to surprise her. I arrived at her apartment with fresh flowers, planning to celebrate her recent exam success with a special dinner. The door was slightly open, unusual, but I thought nothing of it at first. Then I heard laughter. Deep, masculine laughter that definitely wasn't mine. Then her voice, bright and animated in a way I hadn't heard in months. Finally, a silence fell that spoke louder than any words could. The kind of silence that reveals everything you never wanted to know. I didn't enter. I couldn't. Instead, I walked back to my car and sat there in the darkness, processing the reality that had just shattered my world. The flowers lay forgotten on the passenger seat as I drove home through empty streets. The next morning, I transferred the apartment lease to her name and signed over the car's ownership. Then I sent a simple message, "You're free now." "So am I." Later, I learned the man was her professor. Married, with no intention of leaving his family. She dropped out of college 2 months later when he ended things. But by then, I had already learned my lesson. I don't answer calls from unknown numbers anymore. I trust actions, not words. Most importantly, I've learned that gratitude should never cloud good judgment. I'm not broken, and I don't seek revenge. But I've grown wiser. And I'll never again try to purchase love. Some betrayals don't leave scars. They leave lessons. If you've ever given too much, or trusted the wrong person, then maybe you already know how this feels. Subscribe for more stories like this, and remember, sometimes silence is the strongest revenge.